Sambonani Kunjani, and welcome to another episode of Talk That Talk. My name is D.A.P.H.N.E and I am the host and creator of Talk That Talk. And today we are at the wonderful and ever so beautiful Kunjani Wines.
Feminism and uplifting women, but in the context of a partner,
Oh yeah.
not in the context of just women in general. That's not feminism. That's not really helping anyone.
Just to go back to the white woman feminism,
Oh yeah.
um, I like it, if there's really one thing in this life that I've realized that like annoys me, it's performative activism. And I've lost friends, not even lost, I've cut like fucking split ends, friends out of or people out of my life that have been engaging in performative activism. And I see this happening with so many white women who are like, I'm so for this Black Lives Matter movement, but then the friends that you have are only white. The people that you are dating are only white. The places that you go to are only catering for a certain class of people. So, what are you actually doing to be intersectional within your feminism? Do you recognize that the feminism that white people have or that white women have and the feminism that the BIPOC community has sometimes are not interchanging, and a lot of white women don't know about Marsha P. Johnson. They don't know about the trans women who had to put their lives on the line so that all women could, be in a position of power. So only now, with RBG, it's like, she was the pioneer for women, but there were so many other women, queer women, black women, who were fighting for women's rights, but because they were obviously the wrong skin color, or their skin color was criminalized, it wasn't recognized as feminism. So yeah, I have a huge problem with that. But yeah, let's go on to the next topic. Next topic on
Uh,
gender-based violence.
oh yeah, great. I love that one.
Stunning.
Oh.
Yeah, so in a way, this is kind of a topic that can't really be defined or concluded because it is obviously it's like what is the future of women? What is the future of the country for women? Where we are the rape capital of the world. Where do we go from here? Um, there was an ad that I saw on TV, and it was advertising this like energy booster type of thing, and it is an ad of a man like jogging, and then he drinks this thing, and then like he has all the energy in the world, but the advert is taking place at night, and I thought like how like lucky is he? Like how amazing is that to actually be able to exercise at night? Thinking that as a woman, that is never something that I ever feel that I can do. Even driving at night, um, I've been told that I'm not sure how legal this is, but I was told that at night, if you are running a red robot and you are stopped or you get a fine because of it, you can justify your reason for doing so because you are a woman and it's not safe for you to be out at night.
Yeah.
And I
I
was
mean, I don't know if legally that's true, but I mean, I was told to always do that.
Yeah, and it's just like, but how crazy is that? Like, even in your car, you are not safe. Like, my parents also were very, very wary when I was a young driver, when I just started learning how to drive. They told me, like, please don't drive out too late, make sure that you are, like, sort of around when lights are still shining. Don't go to this part of town. And it's just like, but why?
Like, yeah, be in gear to like start always.
Yeah. And you then, like, it becomes intrinsic where you don't recognize that you're constantly living in fear and that you are constantly preparing yourself for the worst case.
Mm.
Like just the other day, I purchased, electronic equipment and I purchased it on Facebook. And I asked my sister's boyfriend to please come with me. And I told him, like, I don't know who this person is. I'm going to an area that I don't know. This person could literally be selling something completely different, and it could just end up as a very shitty scenario for me. And as a man, I think, he perceived it as like, okay, interesting that you have to go there. And it sounds like we are so extreme in our approaches, but it is a massive possibility that when you go somewhere, you could be raped. Like one in
Yeah.
three women are raped in this country. So what makes me special to not experience that? I can't just take for granted that I can wear what makes me feel comfortable in public. I have to filter and censor almost my femininity because that is dangerous for me to be confident in my womanhood can be used as a weapon against me. People will ask, but what were you wearing? You were
Mm.
asking for it. And that's fucking scary to live in a country and live in a world that perpetuates rape culture.
Yeah, I mean, you can't wear what is fashionable to buy in the shops. I mean, you can, but I mean, I don't feel comfortable wearing that and walking around. Because no matter what you wear, I mean, I'm sure that this is the case for you too. You step outside your house and you're catcalled.
Yeah.
Like every single time, someone will say something, no matter what you're wearing. Um, and if you don't take someone with you to your Facebook Marketplace meeting, like people, and something happens, people will be like, well, why did you go alone?
Yeah.
Someone will say that.
She should have known, the
Yeah, like, is she crazy going
yeah,
alone?
precautionary measures. And it's just like, can I not just live? Like, I just want to live my best white man life where,
I guess not.
where the world is just my oyster.
Sorry,
Like, sorry for me. I
not for
can't.
you.
Fuck, man. Like, I just want to be able to go to a restaurant and sit and not feel like I'm going to be attacked. For me, it's obviously this double layer of being a woman of color, like being a woman and being a woman of color. So immediately it's just like, mm, should I even
Yeah.
go? Like, should I leave the safety of my own home where I know that I'm safe? And that's just for me to be thinking that, and where I have so much privilege, I can't even fathom how other women and how black women need to face this world. So, at some point, I would really like to trust men again, and I don't. Like, I honestly do not trust men.
No.
I I realized that the other day where I just had an interaction with a man that I hadn't seen in a while, and like sexual harassment was perpetrated, and I was just like my ass was grabbed in a way of like, oh yeah, you have such a nice ass, and as
What a
friends,
compliment.
yeah, and it's just like, I that makes me uncomfortable. So like
Mm.
how again, I just realized even the men that you are friends with, your father, your family, those all men are capable of sexism, and I wish that men could take the same approach that we expect white people to take the approach with racism. Like, just from the beginning, there needs to be a shift of, yes, I am racist. Yes, I am a sexist. Like, I am capable of perpetuating sexism and committing, sexism. And then from there, I think we can actually reach a goal. But my problem is that people with this, not all men, and yes, men are trash, but they are, then we are allowing people to be absolved of responsibility that they have. And that
Yeah.
definitely, like, we cannot be doing that.
Yeah, like my default as a white woman is if I just exist in the world and I'm not aware of how I do it, I will be perpetrating racism and contributing to white feminism. Move through life, that's what will happen
Hmm.
because of how things are and how you fit in to the society. You know.
Lucy, what would you say? Um, how could we approach this topic of white people who think that but uh, it's I can't help being raised in racism. I can't help that my parents are racist. That my culture, um, that racism goes with my culture. How do we address that mentality where people are generally not trying to be racist, but they are not actively anti racist? So, like you say, they are just going through life as they are, not realizing that your autopilot is racist.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, you have to be aware of your privilege and how to use that privilege. So, yeah, could you maybe give any ideas?
I mean, that's so embarrassing. Like, aren't you embarrassed to be part of a culture where it's like this? And you just identify with that culture knowing that it's racist and sexist inherently. And, it's just, it's such an odd thing to use as an excuse. Like, well, this is just how I identify and this is just how I grew up.
It's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like, what must I do? Um, like, do you want to just be like that forever? I don't know. Um, but unfortunately, it's easier for a man to hear about sexism for a man. It's easier for a white person to hear about racism from another white person.
Mhm.
And maybe that just has to be the first step, you know?
Yeah. It's sad.
Yeah,
Of course, we know why white people find it easier to listen to other white people.
yeah.
Um, and something that I actually want to share that happened. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago. I had a photo shoot, and as I was coming back in to the restaurant where I was having the shoot, so I was with the photographer and like a few friends.
Those pictures were beautiful. I think I saw them.
That's in the different reality. This,
Ah, I see.
yes, that was Alien Lynn using her,
Okay.
using her. What was it? The planet heart, the star heart. What
I
heart
don't.
was it that you sent on Facebook? And I was like, that's an alien.
Oh, uh, she's gone. We don't remember
Oh, but we
this.
remember her.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can just go check later.
Oh, it was a space heart. It was a space heart.
A
Yes.
space heart, yes.
Yes. So, as we were coming back, then we saw this All Lives Matter flag, and we were obviously like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, the trash is just like and
Ah,
the flag was inside someone's car, but directly in front of the restaurant where we were shooting. And naturally, I'm just like, what is this? And I asked the lady sitting opposite this flag, and for purpose of the story, she's a white woman and she's an older white woman, but she looked like this is Bree Street, and she looked Bree Street. So I was like, okay, maybe she's in with the hip crowd.
yeah.
So I was like, do you know whose flag this is? Like, and obviously all of us were very puzzled. And she goes, yeah, it's mine. And I'm like, um, do you realize what All Lives Matter means? And she's like, yeah, I just came back from a protest, and we were protesting against corruption in this country. And I'm
Ah.
like just telling myself,
Like, where do you start?
I'm not even like where do we move on from here? And knowing myself, I will just like remove Lynn. Please just ask yourself to remove yourself because it's not. This is not gonna happen right now. Like you
Uh,
are not gonna put yourself in the emotional space to argue with a white woman about why all lives matter is problematic. And then I went inside, and yeah, that happened. And I go to one of the workers, and this place is called I Love the Dough. To anyone who wants to call them out, I have already done so, but they've ignored me. Mm. So I Love the Dough, Bree Street. So I spoke to one of the employers and I was like, so there's somebody with an All Lives Matter flag outside your restaurant. This is problematic. And this is a white man, and he was like, "Oh, I don't involve myself in politics." And me, as like a POC customer, I'm just like, okay, sure. So my life really does not matter because somebody outside is
yeah.
telling you that all lives matter, and you know, we all know, whether or not you are involved in politics, we all know what all lives matter stands for and what it reacts to. So you telling me as a customer that you don't get involved in politics when you
Was it?
are
That's not politics.
it's not fucking it's like it's humanity, it's social
Yeah.
issues. Like
Like, you're not a politician either.
exactly. And I was just like, wow, just the absolute privilege that this man has to not get himself involved because it doesn't affect him. That woman could be flying, you know, the apartheid flag and it wouldn't have affected him. So he doesn't have to do anything about it. And in that moment, it like I felt I was really sad, but I was so angry because I just realized that whatever I'm doing doesn't make a difference to this person and it doesn't make a difference to the racists in this country. And funny enough, um, when I was just like, okay, this dude is obviously racist, as we now continue doing the shoot, a man comes to me and is like, "Oh, honey, I think I should take over the shoot because you're not like smiling. You should be more happy. Just let whatever happened go." And I'm like, "Okay, so first of all lives matter. Tani fucking comes with her flag. Then this white guy tells me that he doesn't get involved in politics. Then another man comes to tell me that I should smile more.
Inside a place, you're not just like out in the world.
No, I'm in Cape Town, Bree Street,
Cape
living
Town.
this fucking middle class life, and like that's I think that was my punishment for funding capitalism. So now
Yeah,
it's directly my fault. So now I know any
they're actually teaching us an important lesson about
yeah,
capitalism, and that's actually their true activism.
exactly, and um, so just to take it back to this woman, the
Yeah.
protest where she was that she attended was the Move 1 Million protest.
Ah.
And when I actually did a little bit of research on this
I
organization,
literally just see what is she talking about?
yeah, like why does she feel so confident to be racist?
Yeah.
Africa. Um, I saw that they were protesting against 26 years of corruption in South Africa.
Oh,
And it's like,
what a coincidental timeline.
yeah. So, Lucy, I actually just want to go to the last
Yeah.
question, or the last topic.
Yes.
And do you feel that art allows women to express themselves freely?
Um, well, yes and no, of course. You know, art is work. You're getting paid to do something. You're, if you play an instrument from the Western classical tradition, you know, you have to um, learn within that um, tradition and play all the standard repertoire. And then there's this sort of promise at the end that you'll be able to like do something you really want to do at the end
Hmm.
once you are like good enough from this whole process of, you know,
Mm.
the standard repertoire. Um, I don't know. Sometimes,
Mm.
sometimes uh, I personally feel very free to express what I want, but you know, you're always creating, thinking, okay, who's going to watch this? What are they going to say?
Mm.
Will this be good for my career? Will it not? Um, yeah, depends who you're making it for, I guess,
Mm.
and where you are, what you're making, the tradition. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a very important topic or thing that you said about, who you're making it for. And something that I've always feared in my own career was that if I am going to do certain performances, um, and affiliate myself with certain groups, then I will be perceived as this type of musician or
Mm,
whatever, and then I will, you know, people will look at me and immediately think like, okay, this is what I am. So I was always very afraid to do what I wanted because I thought that my art will then be perceived in a way that I'm not comfortable with. But then I
mm,
realized that it will, in any case, it will be perceived in a way that I'm not comfortable with. Any narrative or perspective that is not my own is always an external narrative. If I take, a video of myself playing, let's say, Bach's first cello suite, somebody's always going to come back and be like, well, that wasn't authentic enough because you didn't use a Baroque instrument. Or somebody might come in and be like, well, we thought you're going to do something a little bit more adventurous. Why you're not
yeah.
doing something that's, helping new composers? So there's always someone that's not going to be happy with what you're doing. So you might as
Mm,
well just do it for yourself from the beginning. And people
exactly.
generally they love to judge. We love to judge. Um, because that's what we're comfortable with. If we can immediately put something in a box and conceptualize it and contextualize it, this is how I experience it, then we feel safe. But when we are unfamiliar with things, it's like, I don't know, like I'm not
Mm,
too keen on that. Um, and I am hoping to explore that even further. And that's why I'm so glad that I did create this platform where I was like, well, you know what? I'm actually not afraid anymore that people are going to think of me as an angry black woman. Because, like, maybe I am. Like, I'm justified within my anger, and
yeah.
people now not going to take me seriously as a musician because I am, also using other platforms. Probably not. They probably don't think I ever practice. And that's not my problem. What people think of me is not my issue. What Tracy Ellis Ross said, she says sometimes what I think of myself is not my problem, because we can put a lot of doubts in our own mind. And I think if we can just, create and do things that make us happy, we know what makes
Mm,
us happy. We can feel it. So, and we can just follow that warm, fuzzy feeling that is definitely not alcohol, but the real
no.
fuzzy feelings.
You're talking politics. So
Damn it, I am not being the correct musician that I should be at this moment.
no. But I mean, we all, yeah, I'm not going to say that. Um, not while you're recording. Um,
No, I will stop recording now in any case because, yeah,
oh,
I feel like we've covered whatever we've wanted to cover. What I've
awesome.
wanted to cover, yeah.
Oh, I thought of one more thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah, please.
Um, it's quite comforting to know that as students, we have actually a lot of power
Mm-hmm.
to make things how we want in classical music. You know, if you wanna support a composer that is a woman or a person of color, uh, you can just get your library to order a score that you want to play. You don't even have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
then it's there in the library forever,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And then you get to also just represent yourself in your concert program in a way that is purposeful because people remember what you played for your final recital. You remember what you played for your final recital.
That is
You
such
know?
a. I'm so glad you actually said that because when I was at university, we had the compositions group called Compos,
Yeah.
and students were always asked to play, obviously, for the works by the student composers. And it was always seen as such a burden uh,
Yeah.
by a lot of the students, myself included, because it was just
Mm.
like, ugh, why do we have to learn new music? Because we're not taught in this culture of playing new music, of
Yeah.
expanding our limits and kind of pushing the boundaries as to what we are familiar with, because we are familiar with Kreutzer and playing Mendelssohn and playing the Hofmeister concerto. But what if I asked my friend to write a concerto for me that no one has played before? It's
And that
fucking
is
daunting.
such a privilege. Like, it's such an
Exactly.
honor to premiere a composition.
Yes. And we can do that at university settings. And as you say, like as students, you have so much power. Of
Mm.
course, you are part of an elite minority of people who are not afforded that privilege to go to tertiary institutions. So
Mm.
I definitely feel like students should be taught the things that they do have, the opportunities that they do have as students. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think generally postgraduate students have that knowledge of the
Yeah.
opportunities they can actually use. Undergraduate students, I know that this is not something that somebody comes in and tells you, look, if you want something to be played and the music is not there, you can go to your library and ask them to buy it for you. Might take some time, but you can do it. It's just, we see these things as such an inconvenience because, again,
Mm.
you can just go to the library, take out the classics because the scores are there. Let's play.
And that's what your prof is, saying you should learn.
Exactly. Let's play a Brahms string quartet because all of his string quartets are in the library. Let's not actually play something by Florence Price because we might have to, ship that in, which will cost money for the
And
university.
take a long time.
Yeah, and then you're like, but actually, the university has money. If I'm actually told that I should plan my repertoire for the year and include different cultures, different groups,
Mm.
then I can do these things. But it's again, people just need to be equipped with the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on that note, I want to say thank you so much, Lucy, for this conversation. Um, I had so much fun speaking to you. And I really feel like this is a conversation now that every time I have this conversation, I feel so much more comfortable to speak about it because obviously the more you do something, the less taboo it is. And I definitely,
Practice.
yeah, practice does make perfect.
No, not
Never.
perfect.
Never. Practice makes you slightly less out of tune.
Yeah.
Or it
If
makes
you
you
do it
more
the right
aware.
way.
Practice makes you more aware
Yeah.
of what you're not doing.
Yeah. Teaches you to listen.
Thank you so much to my guests for their absolutely wonderful conversation. I hope you have enjoyed this episode as much as I have and enjoyed the absolutely beautiful scenery of Kunjani wines.